and how we might be able to shorten the casualties. So let's start off with a little background on school shootings. Wikipedia.com states that the suspects in these shootings were armed with assault rifles or various weapons. 5 instances there have been assault rifles, 2 instances they were shotguns, and 2 were handguns. Well, the rest of the shootings, were rifles. The rest of the shootings were handguns. Handguns because you can easily conceal it, easier to hide, and you can, get in there and kill easier. The Virginia Tech shooter in 2007 was carrying a handgun with multiple loaded clips. He killed 32 people and wounded 17. This shooting made U.S. history for being the deadliest attack by a single gunman. Shooters are looking for one thing when they enter a school, and that is if it's gun-free. According to the article, Gun-Free Zones Don't Save Lives, John Lott Jr. explains how multiple different killers changed their actual course when they realized that guns were permitted. For example, the Dark Knight movie theater killer, actually, he stated in his diary, out of 7 theaters showing that Batman movie that night, only 1 banned guns, and that's the theater he chose to go to. John Lott also states that the right to carry laws reduce both frequency and severity of mass public shootings. Shootings still occur, but they go towards rural areas where guns are banned. All right, now that I told you a little bit about guns and the shooting situations, let's talk about the law enforcement side. The article, Don't Be a Victim, on gundata.com states that nationally, on average, it takes 6 minutes for police from once they get the 911 call to arrive on the scene. That's what's behind me. So if it takes 6 minutes to get there, a shooter's already on campus, and there is still 2 minutes left until police arrive on scene. And so in that amount of time, a shooter has already killed 1 person each minute. When we talk about police arriving on the scene, that does not mean that the police have the situation under control. That's them actually just getting there. Now you got the logistics that they have to go through. Where was the shooter last seen? How many guns there were involved, and how many people are actually involved? An example would be Mount Sac. The school sits on 420 acres. So say somebody called from the English department. That's 4 stories with multiple hallways and multiple classrooms. So now the police have just arrived, and now they have to realize they don't exactly know where to go because the shooter could have moved by this time. So now 6-minute response time has now gone on to 10 to 15 minutes. Now you realize the severity of the law enforcement side. So now let's discuss a way to shorten the time to resolve the conflict without, as many casualties. Most classrooms, like I stated, have one way in and out. So if the shooter comes in this room right now, we have nowhere to go. And our first response is to panic, and then hide, run, or fight. According to the article in the STL Beacon by Del Singer, he states, the person is in the building. Someone at the school has to deal with the situation because the police is not here. This is where an armed teacher would be vital to this situation. The majority of shooters in these situations usually kill themselves when confronted by armed law enforcement. So if they were confronted earlier by someone that had a gun, then there was a chance that he might, they might stop the situation earlier and save people's lives. Not all teachers obviously feel comfortable carrying a gun, but many veterans and off-duty officers actually teach at schools. And if they were allowed to carry their weapons on campus, they could possibly get the situation under control because of their training as a police officer. Shouldn't they be allowed to do that? Okay. Any teachers who feel comfortable carrying a weapon at school could also go through the hours of proper training, background check, the training, kind of like police officers, and any training that is involved in getting a handler's permit. Sometimes bystanders are in a position to save the day also. For example, in John Lott Jr.'s Gun-Free Zones Don't Save Lives in Chicago in April 2015, An Uber driver actually dropped off a fare and shot and killed a gunman that opened fire on people. There are many other examples of gun permit holders that have actually saved lives by containing the suspect. Don't mind that behind us. So I believe that teachers that want to protect themselves and the students that they're teaching should have the right to do that. These teachers will not only have the qualifications of the school and classrooms, the law enforcement arriving on scene, wouldn't know exactly the layout of the school like the teachers would. So now I've given you a little example of shootings, the law enforcement side, and why I believe that guns should be allowed on campus. And I want to leave you with this. There are some people in this room that have kids like myself, and if I heard that there was a shooter at my kid's school, I would feel more comfortable knowing that there was a teacher or more teachers there with necessities to, take care of the situations like having a gun. That would give me a little bit of peace of mind. Thank you.